Last time we talked about demonetization and how it's affecting a lot of YouTubers in the LGBTQ space. But I realized I haven't actually done a video on demonetization, how it happens, and why it happens. I figured it's about high time we did that. So, starting today, we're going to be doing YouTube 101, a series on shit on YouTube you should probably know if you're a creator or if you're just watching or just, I don't know, man, just watch the video all the way through to the end because I worked real hard on this and fuck it, who knows. So on YouTube, as you may have noticed, a lot of your creators that you really love talk about demonetization quite a bit. There are jokes made about it. Some people honestly will post about, oh no, I'm going to get demonetized, but why do you get demonetized? Well, one of the key reasons you can get demonetized as a creator is for creating content that violates YouTube's community guidelines and either gets you a strike or, you know, a whole bunch of fun shit that you don't want to have happen. But what actually is causing the demonetization? There's a couple different things that can happen here. Someone can flag your video, report it essentially for offending the community guidelines. That does happen. And then sometimes it happens automatically through YouTube's algorithm. If you didn't know, back in the day, I believe YouTube used to do a much more manual process of actually checking videos. This was before Google purchased YouTube. However, since a couple of different things have happened, obviously YouTube has exploded in size, and having one human person review videos, or even a couple human persons, or a couple hundred, or 100,000 human persons isn't really sustainable. So what they've done is they've implemented an algorithm that uses some kind of mathematical mumbo-jumbo. I'm not a coder, so I couldn't actually explain it to you on how it works, because I don't know. Essentially, goes through videos and very mathematically, scientifically, not very expertly admittedly, goes through videos to look ahead and find stuff that violates terms and services. This could be using the actual name of the video or different keywords you've assigned to it, maybe the description, maybe using Content ID to check any music to make sure there's nothing copyrighted. There's a lot of stuff on the back end that happens that I don't know because I don't work for Google or YouTube and don't know how that shit works. But essentially, it kind of pre-scans your content to see if anything is a no-no. And in theory, that's pretty efficient. It gets stuff done a lot faster. You don't have to rely on a small nation of reviewers to make sure your stuff is good. In theory, that's great. However, in practice, computers are dumb. Computers are dumb because things like syntax, context, you know, language often doesn't really register super well. So trying to determine if something is actually graphic, sexual, or violating the terms of service gets a bit tricky. If you've ever used Babelfish, you know that asking, hello, how are you today, and trying to immediately translate it over into, say, Russian, sometimes doesn't yield the most accurate results. What you may get comes out to something closer to, I'd like a salami salad, or just something that's completely nonsensical and wrong, grammatically flawed and what have you. Using computers to do moderation and other activities can also yield the same results. A computer won't necessarily, a computer won't necessarily know that something is violating the terms of service, but it will register certain words and try to make the determination on its own, sometimes correctly and sometimes completely inaccurately. So looking for certain pieces of content that either have brutal or violent or sex in the title sometimes can get your video pretty much instantly demonetized. Sometimes having a current event affect how certain keywords are looked at, say furry, after the Tide Pods incident, can get that demonetized as well. Sometimes having hot button topics that most of your people buying ads don't want to run ads against can sometimes also affect this too. Say if most of your advertisers don't want to run against transgender content, I wonder if perhaps you could have it demonetized every time the word transgender is used. Still up for debate. There have been some allegations that that's the case, and some people have tried some stuff to see, and I myself am not sure if that's a thing or not, but I wouldn't be surprised. But essentially, scanning through different videos to find segments of either Content ID music or clips from films or any of that fun junk can occasionally result in your stuff getting blammoed for no reason because either YouTube didn't quite get the context or it got the context but it then wasn't really sure what to do with it and he got demonetized anyway. Oops. Now, some people might be surprised because there have definitely been some videos that show stuff that really violates the hecko out of the community guidelines and doesn't really suffer for it. From what I understand of my limited knowledge of YouTube and its algorithm, is when you start to get a lot of views on a video and it gets shared on a lot of news sites, that can sometimes help your chances because it'll then bump into trending and it might get a little more circulation even though it's a little questionable. This is what we saw happen with the Suicide Forest video with Logan Paul. Did it violate community principles? Oh, hell did it violate community principles. But it got shared a lot on different news sites, you know, it became very popular to watch as a lot of people just wanted to see what this dude had done. And that's where the demonetization probably should have kicked into effect, but because the algorithm deemed it one of those videos that was super popular with the kids, it took a little longer than it should have. Anyone who's a furry YouTuber has had the irritating as hell discovery that their video has been almost immediately demonetized within hours of going up just because they put furry in the title, the file name has furry in it, or they've used furry as a keyword. You'll notice that some of my videos don't get the word furry until after they've gotten at least 1,000 views. That's why. I typically will not put furry in the title if I can help it. I will not put the video file name with anything that says furry, and I won't use furry as a keyword until that thing's gotten enough views where if it does get demonetized, it has a couple of views behind it so I don't have to worry about it sitting in demonetization for like days. It's a tactic I use and it works relatively well. But essentially, you can see stuff like this also having the reverse effect of, if you looked, when Logan Paul was trending, a lot of news sites were sharing his actual video. However, on a different side, when Majira did the Tide Pods goof video, what we saw happening there is a lot of news sites taking like screen caps or doing their own take on the video, but not actually sharing his video. So what ended up happening in Majira's case is Majira got absolutely blammoed for his video because the algorithm didn't really deem it one of those successful videos because it wasn't really getting shared outside of YouTube, from what I know. Then again, I might just be full of shit. So why do we have this system in place? Why is it so strict and harsh? Well, let's go back to a little incident that happened not too long ago where it was not as regulated and it was not as strict, but we were having some shit happen that was not good. Essentially, what certain advertisers were seeing were their ads against ISIS videos, which is not something you want to have happen. That's not good. No, no, no. So essentially, seeing a lot of their advertisements going against ISIS beheading videos, which, you know, is a family picture. Many of them pulled their advertising from YouTube completely and absolutely refused to run ads until it was fixed. YouTube being YouTube and having their oh shit moment, instituted an algorithm that was a bit harsher and stricter and was designed to keep ads from landing on that content, because as much as content creators are the lifeblood of YouTube, advertisers pay the bills. So losing your key advertisers, some of whom spend millions of dollars, is bad. Not a thing you want to have happen, because that's what keeps the lights on. So as soon as you lose those big advertisers, whoever runs that company is going to have that nah shit moment. And YouTube had one hell of a no shit moment. While the algorithm definitely helped to keep some of those ads off of beheading videos, also, why the fuck were there beheading videos on YouTube? Community guidelines, come on, who's not reviewing this shit? But essentially, that did help reduce that, but it also made the algorithm a little bit dumber and had it flag stuff kind of haphazardly. Now, another reason certain videos get demonetized is a flagrant misunderstanding of fair use. I could go into a butt ton of detail on that. However, YourMovieSucks did a much better take and has a lot more information and is generally more interesting to listen to than I am. So I'm just gonna link his video down below. But the shorthand of what happens there is several critics in the community who critique movies and film, TV shows, anything that goes on your TV. Essentially, we're we're finding that a lot of big studios, and sometimes really weird studios that, you know, didn't seem to exist, but, you know, seemed to find their video just fine, were filing complaints that they were using some of their clips, you know, without consent, essentially resharing videos, and it was causing a problem. Now, back in the day, and certain videos still up on YouTube, which still baffles me, you did have people uploading full videos, which would essentially reduce the need to actually buy the video or go to a theater and watch it, which is a problem. However, when critics were showing footage for their actual reviews or critiques on these movies or shows, it didn't really replace the source material. You weren't going to watch a critique of a certain movie instead of just seeing the movie. In fact, some people were actually watching critiques of the movies to see if they wanted to see the movie, and in some cases it made them actually want to see the movie, so what the fuck, studios? But what was happening is people weren't understanding how fair use worked, and a lot of these content creators were having issues because for many of them, this is their 9 to 5 that pays their bills, and once your video gets demonetized, you don't get that money anymore, and especially if it's over someone just flagrantly not understanding how fair use works, that's a problem. And because a lot of them are smaller, they don't necessarily want to go to court because, I mean, who wants to go to court with Universal when you're just Joe, the guy that does reviews of movies? Not really. Especially if you don't have a lot of law experience, you don't want to hire a lawyer. So it was kind of scaring people off from fighting back and causing them a lot of issues with actually keeping their channels up or even just keeping monetization on a lot of their key videos. Again, Your Movie Sucks said it way better than I did, so video for him in the description. Just, you know, click it right below. But anyways, those are some reasons you might be seeing a lot of demonetization happening. It's a lot of misunderstanding and it's a lot of computers be dumb, yo, and algorithms not be perfect. So if you see that a lot of your content creators are suffering from demonetization and you're not really sure what the hell is going on, now you know what the hell is going on. So if you're noticing it happen to a lot of people you care about and you love watching content for, might I suggest supporting them on Patreon, if they got one, buying their merch, if they got it, or finding other ways to support them just in case they get that beautiful demonetization sign lined up in their video queue and or have their shit fucked. But anyways, have a lovely, lovely day, and I hope you learned something. Bye!